Hey students, it's me again. Today we are looking at a circus question. I know this is daunting. I know this shape doesn't look welcoming at all. But yeah, I hope that this video will give you a better perspective, okay, as to how are you supposed to solve questions like that, okay? So for questions like that, we adopt, a method called cut and paste, or some people call it shifting, and moving it and stuff like that, okay? So what I want to do first, okay, is I want to cut this shape, okay, into parts that I am familiar with. So I'm just going to cut it like that. I'm going to bring this down. Okay, so as you can see over here, you can see that this is a square, this is another square, this is another square, and this is another square. So four squares together, coming together, it forms a big square, right? Of course, within that square, we can see circles and we can see a rugby ball and stuff like that, okay? So what I want to do first, right, is I want to try my best to shift things around. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to shift this over to this side. So when I do that, I'm going to shade this, okay? Try not to do it this way, all right? You can just shade it using straight lines, okay? And we are going to put an X over there, okay? To show that I have removed that, okay? Now, so what I want to do is, of course, I'm just going to solve B, okay? For A, I believe a lot of you will be able to do the circumference of the circle, okay? So I'm just going to look at B. Well, we can just find out the area of this part first, okay? So we are going to say, so we are going to find out the area of this part first, okay? So we are going to say that the area of sector, all right, let's call this, or let's give this sector a name, okay? Let's call this sector A, all right? Area of sector A is actually equals to the area of the square, okay? Hold on to this first, minus away area of quadrant. Okay, so area of the square minus area of the quadrant. Let me highlight to you. Can you see the square? Okay, where's the quadrant? The quadrant is actually here. The quadrant is here. Okay, so I'm going to use the yellow color part. Okay, if you can follow my cursor, the yellow one minus away the quadrant, I'll be able to get to these two parts over here. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do first. Okay, so the area of the square will then be, because if this whole thing is 12, then of course I know that whatever that is over here is actually 6, right? So I'm just going to do 6 times 6 first. Okay, minus away the area of the quadrant, so 1 over 4 pi r square. All right, so 6 times 6 is 36. Minus away 1 over 4 times 3.14 times radius being 6 to the power of 2, right? Okay, so over here will be 36 minus away 28.26. We will get to 7.74 centimeters square. Okay, so this is the area of sector A. All right, so I think it'll be very, very helpful if you can write down that this is A. Okay, you can see I intentionally stretch it all the way to this side to remind me that it is actually the whole part, okay? Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to erase these highlighted parts, okay, because I do not want them to be there. Okay, so I know, of course, for a lot of you, you will be doing on, not a lot of you, all of you will be doing on paper, right? So then you'll be like, hey, but I cannot highlight and then remove it. Okay, don't worry. Then you sketch it out. Okay, you can sketch it out so that you'll be able to see it clearly. Just a quick sketch. Okay, don't care too much whether if the quadrant looks like a quadrant. You can see that my quadrant doesn't exactly looks like a quadrant. So you can see, right? Yeah. So you know, right? This is sector A. All right. So what you like to do is you like to just call this A. All right. So I think that will help you a lot. Okay. My rugby ball is not that fat, so yeah, you might want to make it fatter. Anyways, what else can I do? What else can I do? What else can I do? Now I know, right, that hey, I can actually shift this, okay? I can shift this downwards. I can shift this to this side, right? So I'm going to do that. I'm going to shade it. Okay, same thing, put a small X over here to show that it is gone, or in fact, I've shifted that. And when you do that, you realize that this becomes a quadrant. Okay, if I may highlight it for you to see again. All right, can you see a quadrant? All right, if I may highlight for you to see again. All right, so if this is a quadrant, all we need to do is to find the area of the quadrant, isn't it? So we are just going to say area of quadrant. Okay, so that becomes 1 over 4 pi r squared, 1 over 4 times 3.14 times radius. Go back to the figure, look at this, again, same thing, it's 6, so 6 to the power of 2. So when you do that, you get to 28.26. Okay, so we know this one, again, same thing, if you cannot, remove your highlighted parts, what you have to do is you have to sketch it out. Okay, so we're almost there, okay. I'm left with two things. This is one of it, and then this is another one. Okay, so what I can do is I can shift this downwards, right? I can shift this over to this side. Correct, so I can shade this part. Okay, and did you realize that actually this part over here, okay, is the same as sector A, isn't it? All right, this part over here is exactly the same as sector A, right? Okay, how am I so confident, right? Because I want you to look at the parts that I'm going to highlight right now, okay? Look at this quadrant, okay? And then look at this quadrant. You realize that both of them, they have a rugby ball. So let's call this the rugby ball. And then this is also another rugby ball. And to the left of the rugby ball is basically sector A, right? Isn't this also sector A? Okay, so that's how I'm able to say that these two, let's call that sector B, is the same as sector A. All right, so I'm going to say that the area of sector B, okay, is equals to 7.74 centimeters squares. And then I put cm square over here. So you want to find the area, you just add everything up together. All right, so the total area, okay, is actually equals to 7.74 times 2 plus 28.26. Over here, we get to 15.48 plus 28.26. And we get to an answer of 43.74 centimeters square.